Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Avatar The Last Airbender. Now, if you guys have been watching, we are in season number 3. About to start season number 3, so in between season number 2 and season number 3, I figured we'd do some fun facts. Now, before we get fully started here, I do want to let you guys know that I used a translator, basically. The Mac that I use has a read to you function, so if the computer-generated voice mispronounces names like Ong and Zuko, that's just kind of how they read it, I guess. But don't blame me. Blame Mac for that one, but it'll be pretty much an homage to the M. Night Shyamalan movie because he did the same thing. So, with that being said, let's jump in. Here we go.
Zuko was one of the last characters to be written into the show. The Fire Lord was meant to be the show's main antagonist, but the writers realized he would not be able to cause Ong and his friends trouble sitting from his throne. Zuko was then written into the show.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. So Zuko really wasn't supposed to even be a thing, and then he got written in because the Fire Lord wasn't as big and bad of a threat sitting down, so that's understandable.
Mako, who played Uncle Iroh, passed away in the middle of recording his parts for the last 7 episodes of Season 2. They had to quickly recast the part of Iroh. The recasting put a halt to production on Season 3. Mako's part was succeeded by Greg Baldwin in the 3rd season.
Okay, so this is a sad fact for us, yes. Mako, not Mako, Mako, I believe is how they said his name in the behind-the-scenes stuff. You can watch those typically on YouTube, I think they're on there now. But if you want to get the Avatar The Last Airbender set on DVD, there is a link below that you can get that. Has all that stuff on there, at least it should. And it does say, you know, stuff like, and I've heard from other contributors on YouTube that Mako had some rare form of cancer, apparently. That last episode that we watched, not the last episode, but my personal favorite episode, The Tales of Ba Sing Se, showed one episode where he was singing to a kid, and then he went up on a hill, and he sang Little Soldier Boy, and that whole thing was actually a funeral in a way. So that song was basically dedicated to him. The picture of his son, of Iroh's son, was actually a picture of himself when he was younger. So he was basically giving himself a funeral in the show. And then he, of course, passed away, and we got Greg Baldwin. I don't think he's related to any of the other Baldwins. Maybe he is, and I don't know. You can kind of tell that the character attitude had changed after that episode. Uncle Iroh went from being this wise, old, like, sweet, caring guy to more of a, hey, stop and knock this crap off kind of angrier Uncle Iroh, if you will.
If his friends hadn't found you, you would have frozen to death!
Which I noticed that and I was like, wow, this is kind of different. We don't get the knock that off kind of Iroh in season 1 and through most of season 2. And so the contrast there is that Greg Baldwin is a lot different than Mako when it comes to these character buildups. I do appreciate him being Uncle Iroh. I do like the no-nonsense, hey, pick one, be a good guy, be a bad guy side thing that we've been getting in season 2. But I do appreciate, you know, Mr. Mako's performance. His Uncle Iroh is personally one of my favorites, especially that one scene where he does sing, and that whole thing was just an emotional roller coaster, especially when you first see it and it's the first time you get to experience it. So it's just sad to know that that was for the most part, at least from what I've heard, kind of his eulogy to himself. So, yeah. Let's jump into the next question.
The elemental bending movements are based on martial arts, earthbending, Hung Gar Kung Fu, firebending, Northern Shaolin Kung Fu, waterbending, Tai Chi, airbending, Bagua.
Okay, so we do know this. I have mentioned this before in other episodes in previous seasons, Season 1 and Season 2, that most, if not all, of the bending movements are based off of different martial arts. As they said, the earth bending was Hung Gar Kung Fu, firebending Northern Shaolin Kung Fu, waterbending Tai Chi. Tai Chi really does flow a bit. If you've ever seen them do Tai Chi, it really does flow. I'm going to mess this up and butcher it. Please don't hate me. Baguzagan. Or Zog. Baguzog. Okay, so I don't know that one. The other ones I know are different. Well, Kung Fu has many different forms. Hung Gar, I'm not sure exactly. Shaolin, I have heard of. That's a lot of the movie Kung Fu that you get is Shaolin. And of course, Tai Chi. You've seen Tai Chi in just about every Asian-inspired thing ever. But it is pretty interesting to know that these are all based off of martial arts.
The calligraphy on the top and bottom of the map form a rhyming couplet when read aloud in Chinese. The characters at the top read powers are divided into 4, while those at the bottom read the world is guided by 1.
Okay, so in the original map at the beginning of the Avatar, and on the top is a calligraphy, which is Chinese writing style, and you see a grouping of symbols, and the symbols mean powers are divided into 4. So, of course, earth, fire, water, air, the 4 elements, while those at the bottom read the world is guided by 1. So that is basically telling us the avatar is typically rotated into those 4, but the world is guided by 1, which means that every time it's basically saying, at least this is how I am translating it, is there's 4 elements, but because the avatar jumps in between one of these 4 elements, it is guided by 1. So that's how I translate it. Maybe you have some other idea about what that means. Let me know down in the comments because it's pretty interesting. But please let me know that this is exactly what you're talking about, because I do get comments that I have no idea what people are talking about until I go back and watch it. So if you let me know about the calligraphy on the map thing.
The Cabbage Man was not originally meant to be a recurring character, but due to the fans' response and the writers finding it so comedic, the Cabbage Man became a running gag throughout the series.
Alright, so this one's pretty interesting. You guys know I love the Cabbage Guy. I had to throw this one in there. The Cabbage Guy, or as I call him, the My Cabbage Guy. Not to be confused with the My Pillow Guy. We won't really talk about him because I don't really have an opinion on him, but the My Cabbage Guy, I do. So he's been a staple since pretty much the very beginning. Not the very first episode, but since we got into the Earth Nation, and he's been a good staple ever since. I know that his history gets kind of changed after the 3rd season. I think we will see him a few more times in the 3rd season, but I'm not sure exactly what he'll be doing. I do remember that he might open up a cabbage tea shop. Gross. But, you know, to them their own.
Avatar is derived from a Sanskrit word which literally means those who descend.
Okay, kind of just a fun fact, and this is, again, as I said, there will be some fun facts and there'll be some stuff that's a little more deeper than just, hey, this is something that you probably didn't know. So Avatar is a derivative from a Sanskrit word which literally means those who descend, which means those who come down. Okay, because descend means to basically lower or go down. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. There is another fun fact coming up that is kind of connected to this one, so keep a lookout for that.
During the opening credits, the silhouetted figures demonstrating bending styles are future characters' first appearance. The waterbender is Master Paku of the Northern Water Tribe, Episode 18. The earthbender is Sud, Roku's earthbending teacher. He was also an early prototype scrapped character design for Toph, Episode 46. The firebender is Princess Azula, Episode 12. The airbender is the only bender not equal to any named character. The avatar demonstrating all four bending arts is Roku, the avatar before Ong, Episode 7, but also a statue in Episode 3.
Okay, so this is actually pretty interesting. I didn't know that Azula was a part of this whole deal, but I guess she is. Okay, so at the beginning you see the silhouetted figures: earth, fire, air, water. These are the four elements, blah, blah, blah. You know the deal. So the first silhouette is waterbender Master Paku. We met Master Paku in Season 1. He is Grand's Boothang. So Grandpa Paku. Yeah. So we know who that is. It was pretty obvious that it's him if you look at him. The next one is the earthbender is Sud, Roku's earthbending teacher. Okay, that was Roku's earthbending teacher. That's something that we might get into. I don't know if we actually meet Sud at any time in this series, because we do a little flashback at some point on Roku, but it doesn't really get into all of the fire bending and avatar-y stuff for them. More so, it just kind of tells you what happened and why we're where we're at, not so much the complete story of Roku. So I don't know if we're ever going to meet Sud. It was also a prototype for Toph, which Toph was supposed to be a dude at one point, which I get why they did it, because they just didn't want to have like too many guys in the series, and that's understandable. But they made Toph into the Toph that we know now, and made them a lot younger. The firebender is Princess Azula. That is pretty interesting. I'd never really noticed that before, but now that I've seen the sequences, I can see that now. The airbender is the only bender not equal to any named character. The avatar demonstrating all four bending elements is, of course, Avatar Roku. So that last airbender in the show was not seen at all. They could have, and maybe should have, made them into maybe one of the past avatars' lives, just to give them some kind of context, or had them been in the flashback scenes to give them some kind of homage maybe, but I wasn't on the project, so that's pretty interesting.
The symbols of the four nations that are written in the map of the Avatar world has a literal meaning in Chinese calligraphy. For example, the symbol of water is joined with another that means virtue. For the one of earth, it means strong. For fire, it means fierce. And finally for of air, it means peaceful.
Alright, so this is actually pretty interesting as well. I did not actually know this until I had to look up all the information for this video. So the symbols of the four nations that are written on the map coincide with another symbol, and so they hook up with other symbol meanings that are kind of connected to their own meaning. For example, the symbol for water is joined with another meaning for virtue. For the one of earth, it means strong. For fire, it means fierce. And finally, for air, it means peaceful. So that's pretty interesting how those all kind of connect together. It's just kind of a little thing that you don't notice unless you notice.
Though they are brothers, Iroh and Fire Lord Ozai are never once seen together on screen. They were in the same war room when Zuko spoke out of turn and in Zuko's Agni Kai against his father, but they never share any dialogue.
Okay, so this one's pretty interesting as well. You have Prince Zuko, who does talk to the Fire Lord, but you also have Uncle Iroh and Lord Ozai, or as we call him, the Father Lord. Yes, we're going to keep calling him the Father Lord because it's a fun running joke now. So they never actually talk. The two brothers, actually, I don't think we see them in any other room beyond the one time that the Agni Kai was going on, where Zuko got the Eye Boo Boo. It's kind of interesting because these two guys are brothers. Of course, at this point in time, where we're at, Uncle Iroh is a traitor who is in an Earth Kingdom jail, I believe still. He was arrested there. I don't know if they transported him to the Fire Nation or not, but he's in a cell as far as I know.
Iroh was not originally meant to be Zuko's uncle. He was originally meant to be merely a firebending mentor to Zuko.
Okay, so this one's actually pretty interesting. Uncle Iroh was not actually supposed to be Zuko's uncle. He was supposed to be just a wise old man. He was basically Mr. Miyagi.
Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off, wax on, hot. Wax off.
Which is actually pretty interesting. I think that I do like him better as a uncle instead of just some random teacher dude, because why would he keep going after his student who he really wouldn't care about? It's like, oh well, like get rid of this rich brat who doesn't listen to me anyways. It would make more sense that he is the uncle, because why would he keep going back and trying to change somebody that he really doesn't know, isn't blood relative? It makes more sense that he is the uncle to Zuko, not just a bending master teacher guy. They would have to change the entire character for their arc to make sense. So I'm glad they stuck with Uncle Iroh.
Almost all of the animals in the show are a combination of two animals. For example, Appa is half bison, half manatee, and Momo is half bat, half lemur, except Bosco, who is a full bear, and said to be weird that he is only a bear, and Miyuki the cat that was the pet of the old herbalist.
Okay, so this is actually one of my funner fun facts. As I've said multiple times, the animal mix-up on the Avatar show is kind of random. I don't know where they came up with the mixes, but yes, they've said different animal mixes do happen in this world. For example, as they said, Appa is half bison, half manatee. I didn't know he was half a manatee because he's so big. Momo is half bat and half lemur. Well, we knew he was a lemur. I didn't know that his flying part was a bat, but that's pretty interesting to know. Except for Bosco, who is a full bear. And yes, I've made fun of that over and over and over again. And yes, even in the first episode of Season 3, I will make fun of that. So just be prepared. And Miyuki the cat. That was the pet of the old herbologist in the episode where Aang gets captured. I believe it's called the Blue Spirit episode. That is actually a really fun episode, but it's, yeah, the herbologist had a regular cat.
Admiral Zhao, just like Zuko, was one of the last characters to be written into the show. It was decided that Season 1 needed a real villain for viewers to sink their hate into, because Zuko was too sympathetic to be hated and Ozai didn't have enough of a presence in Season 1 to be a real villain yet. So Zhao was written into the show alongside Zuko to be the season's antagonist.
Okay, so this one's actually a little more Season 1 than Season 2, but I will allow it. Admiral Zhao, or General Zhao, or Dead Zhao now, if you will, was added in as one of those last minute additives because, well, just like Firelord, Ozai wasn't really going to be a big player because he was just the man in the chair.
The other guy with the headset telling the other guy where to go.
They added Prince Zuko, but Prince Zuko turned out to be very relatable as a reluctant bad guy or misguided anti-hero, if you will. So they had to have someone to be the big bad guy, and we had Admiral General Dead Zhao. So yeah, his character was actually pretty fun. If you guys go back and watch season 1, he does pop up from time to time. He is very much of an annoyance to Avatar and the gang, and even more so to Prince Zuko, because he keeps trying to steal the Avatar from Prince Zuko. Very interesting character. Sad to see him go, but I think he pops up in Korra at some point, so we might go through Korra at some point. If you guys want me to do that one, let me know down below, because I don't know. I would have to buy it and find it, and I don't know if it's worth the investment. But if you guys want to see it, let me know.
The Firebender's duel, which plays an important role throughout the series, is called Agni Kai. Agni is a Sanskrit word for fire, and is a name of a Hindu fire deity. Kai can be translated from Japanese as meeting or together. Fiery meeting is an adequate description of the Agni Kai.
Okay, so this one's actually pretty interesting. I did not know that this was Hindu, which again would be more Indian-inspired relations. You don't really see too much of a Hindu or Indie vibes from it. When I always watched it, it was always more Asian, like China and Japan inspired. At least that's how I always saw it. But knowing that there's a little bit of more of a India, Asia inspiration in it, that kind of works. I mean, it's not bad. Okay, Kai can be translated from Japanese as meeting or together. So Agni is fire, Kai is meeting or together. So you have fire meeting or fire together, which is pretty interesting.
Dai Li, the name of the protectors of Ba Sing Se, has a meaning in Chinese, which is to act on behalf of someone in a responsible position or to act as an agent. Dai Li, the name of the protectors of Ba Sing Se, has a meaning in Chinese, which is to act on behalf of someone in a responsible position or to act as an agent or proxy.
Okay, so this one's actually pretty straightforward. The Dai Li is translated in Chinese, which again, this is why I say most of the stuff is mainly that form of Asian, China, Japan, Thailand, and all that. It means to act on behalf of or represent a position or act as an agent of. So in this, the Dai Li are Dai Li agents, so they are literally agents or proxies to the king, but more so to Longfang. So it's pretty interesting to see that they're actually taking the time to not make stuff up, but to actually look up words and the meanings of those words and stitch them together for the show, which I do really actually appreciate, because that gives this show a little more depth than the other Avatar, the Blue People movie, where you basically just made up an entire language for that purpose. So, yeah.
WWE Hall of Famer Mick Foley, who voices the Boulder in 3 episodes, based his performance on another WWE alumni and wrestling friend, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, copying The Rock's mannerism of speech and referring to himself at the third person. Mick Foley and The Rock have been both rivals and friends in the ring, even teaming up as The Rock and Saw Connection at one point.
Okay. So, as you guys know, I used to be a very light WWE, WWF fan. They changed it to WWE because the World Wildlife Foundation sued them for copyright infringement, so it went from WWF to WWE. World Wrestling Federation to World Wrestling Entertainment, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, because I don't want to screw that up, but I believe that's right. So Mick Foley, of all people, which his voice is very distinct in this series. He is the Boulder, and that is how he sounds. Now, if you guys have been watching, and he took that from Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, which is kind of funny because there is a new show called Young Rock. It's in its third, hopefully going to be a fourth season. I enjoy it. It's fun. It's just too new for me to really review yet because I don't think anyone's really reviewing it yet. If it ends like an official ending and not just a we're cutting it here type ending, but it actually has like a actual ending because the third season didn't really end. They jumped into some kind of weird stuff to kind of continue the series. I would say, yeah, I'll review it. But there is an episode where he's making fun of one of his fellow wrestlers who talks kind of like, I am the guy who is.
Every time you talk, you sound constipated. Tonight, I am the game.
And he was making fun of that, and I think that was actually a bit that they had in the WWE / back when it was WWF show promo. He would make fun of the guy, and it was great. It's kind of fun to see that comes back. And it wasn't Mick Foley who was the guy he was messing with. It was just another performer, which was so funny to see it in that. And then now I hear that Mick Foley is messing with The Rock, doing the same thing. It's kind of hilarious. If you've seen that episode, it's a great episode. It's a fun show. It's kind of, I wouldn't say it's cheesy, but it's kind of old school, and I enjoy just the non-political, non-garbage that we've been getting where everything has to be a narrative and everyone has to be a thing, and it's just a fun show about The Rock, his mom and dad, and him going through life as a kid, as a teenager, and as a young up-and-comer, and then having the backing of a future Rock who's doing something. So I won't spoil it for you guys. Go and watch the show. If you guys want me to review that at some point, I will, if it actually finishes with a good ending, because you know how it goes. Sometimes they just get cut off at the third season. Sometimes they get a fourth season, but it doesn't go anywhere. You know how that goes. I want them to end on a high note, then I will review it. But as of right now, I really enjoy Young Rock.
In the early stages of writing, Momo, the flying lemur that acts as an animal guide to the group, was initially conceived as the reincarnation of Monk Gyatso, Ong's long-dead airbending mentor and friend. It would have been a reference to the Buddhist belief in reincarnation and to show that, even in death, Gyatso will always be by his side. This idea was scrapped.
Okay, I have heard this one before. It is still just kind of a rumor. I think I even told you guys about this one before. This is probably where I heard it, is that the flying lemur Momo is actually Monk Gyatso, who is Aang's mentor in the series. It's never confirmed. They never said anything about it. I don't even think we see Monk Gyatso in Korra. Of course, I never really finished Korra. But it's pretty interesting that that was actually a thing back then, that they thought, maybe he's the reincarnation of his friend.
Fire Lord Ozai is voiced by Mark Hamill of Star Wars fame.
Okay, this is another simple one. Yes, Fire Lord Ozai is Mark Hamill, or as he likes to go online, Mark Hamill. I don't know why he does Mark Hamill. I didn't see anything that initiates that. I guess it just sounds like Hamill, Camel. I don't know why, but hey, yes, he is associated mainly with Star Wars, but he has done so much other stuff, including playing the voice of the Joker. Do I agree with him on everything? He's been kind of political online lately. I don't have to necessarily agree with him politically to have enjoyed his content and his work.
Azula's character design is actually based on Grey DeLisle's, her voice actress, headshots.
Alright, so this one's actually pretty interesting. Azula's character is actually designed off of the person voicing the character, which rarely happens because usually they take the actor and it doesn't matter what they look like and they just have a character that they have pre-made. But this is actually pretty interesting that they made the character based off of the actress, not just having them do the voice.
According to creators DiMartino and Konietzko, Grey DeLisle won the role of Azula in the audition because, unlike the other voice actresses trying out for the part, DeLisle did not yell any of her lines. Based on what she read about the character, she felt that Azula was powerful enough that she didn't need to yell to establish her dominance.
So the person who plays Azula got the role because she didn't yell. Now, for some of you guys who know how that goes, casting calls is just a big thing where a bunch of people come in, they do a line reading, which they give them a piece of paper, say, my name is Bob, that's it. So they give you some kind of line saying something, most of the time having nothing to do with the show itself. They give you a light description of the character, and then it is up to you to figure out the motivations and how to play them.
An owl spirit introduced in Season 2 in the library is known as Wan Shi Tong, he who knows 10,000 things. His name quite literally translates to one who knows 10,000 things.
Okay, this is just another interesting one. One of my favorite episodes, as you guys know, is the library episode. I like this voice actor. I like this guy as an actor. He played Ed Elzante on the Last Man Standing, which is a great series if you guys haven't seen it. Tim Allen plays basically himself. It's basically Tool Time with hunting gear over tools and 3 girls instead of 3 boys, but it still works. I mean, it's just different enough for it to work. But the guy who played the owl spirit in that episode of the library is basically the owner of the company, and he's done a lot of things. He was even in one of the episodes that I covered in All in the Family, and so it was pretty interesting to find that out. And this little tidbit of information is that the Wan Shi Tong, he who knows 1,000 things, his name quite literally translates to one who knows 1,000 things, which is, you know, again, good writing on the writer's part, looking things up, using real stuff, not just making up gibberish.
A scrapped plot line for Season 3 would have had Azula be forced to enter an arranged marriage.
Okay, so this one's actually pretty funny. Azula married by force. One, I don't think that would actually happen with this character because of the character build-up. Especially in Season 3, that would have been really out of character for her to be forced into an arranged marriage. It would have had to have been someone that they really liked or enjoyed being around. So yeah, this isn't going to work very well unless they actually liked the character, which at that point, what's the point of having that happen if it's not going to create any kind of confrontation or drama or plot line whatsoever? Because if you like the person, then it's not really a thing. So yeah, interesting idea, but I'm kind of glad it got scrapped.
Onzero tattoo symbolize that he is an airbending master.
Okay, so this one's actually pretty interesting as well. As you know, Aang has tattoos throughout his body, on his head, down his back, on his arms as well, because he does the whole thing. And that basically means that he is a airbending master, which is pretty cool because he was 12 at that. And so being an airbending master, yes, you are the Avatar, so okay.
Jeff Goldblum was rumored to have been cast as Zuko, but dropped out due to scheduling conflicts.
Okay, so this is out of left field even for me. Jeff Goldblum playing Zuko. How weird would that have been? I don't like that idea. I don't like the thought of that idea. Back then, he was still mainly known for his roles as, like, the Jurassic Park guy.
Life, finds a way.
And I know he did, like, The Human Fly and, you know, things like that, but my generation knew him as that, as the Jurassic Park guy. It wouldn't have worked out. He wouldn't have sounded nearly villainous enough.
Life, finds a way.
It just wouldn't have worked out for me. So, yeah.
The series finale aired the same weekend of the release of The Dark Knight.
Okay, so this is just another interesting one. Of course, as you saw, the season finale, the series finale ended the weekend of the release of The Dark Knight, which is the Batman movie. So I wonder how many people actually watched the show.
Ty Lee states that she has 6 other sisters in her family. Olivia Hack, Ty Lee's voice actor, had previously portrayed Cindy Brady, the youngest daughter of a huge family, in the Brady Bunch films.
Okay, so this is pretty interesting. I don't think that this lady, Olivia Hack, had been in the original Brady Bunch, but let me know if I'm wrong on that. If she has, I apologize. But she did portray Cindy Brady in the Brady Bunch movies. So there's at least 2 that I know of. So it's pretty interesting that she says that she has 6 other sisters, and in the show she has a lot of siblings, so that kind of is, in a way, its own callback or homage to her previous work. Alright guys, so that is all of the facts that I have for you at this time. I find it really fun that we got to go in and do somewhat of a deep dive on these characters and the cast and crew. Some of the old stuff from Season 1 and through Season 2. We are going to be jumping into Season 3 here. Don't forget that as of right now, the movie that I have made is on Tubi. Tubi is free. You can go on there. So it would be really cool if you guys go and watch that and let me know what you think. I know a lot of you guys didn't get to see it in movie theaters, and you know, I understand a lot of you guys can't afford to just buy a DVD, but if you watch the movie, you like it, I'll link down below how to get the DVDs. Again, they will be associate links, which means if you buy it, I get a portion of what you have bought. I have to have a certain amount before I can cash out on it. If you want to see Avatar, the complete series, there is, again, another link down below. It's called an Amazon Associate link for Avatar, and I will have that down there as well if you want to buy the box set. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this little bit of fun facts for you. If you guys did, go ahead and hit that little thumbs up button for me. If you didn't, go ahead and hit the down button. It's okay. Nobody sees it anyways. If you want to support the channel in free ways, there is a few ways that you can do it. One, of course, by hitting that little like button, or hitting the subscribe button as well.
Don't worry about it. You're still in good shape. All you got to do is just tap it in. Just tap it in now.
That is the freest way to support the channel. It'll also notify you when we start doing the episodes again, which should be next week. I'm also doing All in the Family, which is Archie Bunker, or as I like to call it, Those Were the Days. You can actually go back and watch those as well. So with that being said, I do want to thank you guys for getting this far in the video, and of course I want to thank all of my subscribers, and we will see you next time. Peace.